House Byrch is a noble house from the Crownlands. Much of their early history has not been documented, with their first mention coming in the year 48 AC, but there is some speculation they do in fact predate the conquest of Aegon. Like many of the smaller houses of the Crownlands, it is likely that before the kingdom's creation, that at various times throughout House Byrch's history, they may have possibly been sworn to the Storm Kings of House Durrandon, potentially Harren the Black, and depending on their proximity, the petty kings of House Darkland of Duskendale. All this very much depends on the location of their seat. However, much like most of their early history, we currently do not know its location. According to some documented sources, they blazon their arms with quarterly grunny white and black, a silver axe on green. In 48 AC, during the final days of the rule of King Maegor the Cruel, as he began to lose his grip on power as more and more of his lords saw his nephew as a viable banner to rally behind, he called his remaining loyal lords to King's Landing, with House Byrch among them. However, with Maegor's mysterious death upon the Iron Throne and Lord Rhaegar Baratheon marching for King's Landing with the new King Jaehaerys, fearing reprisals for their support of Maegor, they fled the capital. Once Jaehaerys was firmly established as king and turned his attention to lords loyal to Maegor to the bitter end, he ultimately forgave them, with only minor punishments. While we do not know the exact extent of this, we do know that other houses loyal to Maegor were stripped of small parts of their land as a token gesture of loyalty. It is likely, in keeping with the punishments of the other houses, House Byrch faced the same or similar punishment. During the final days of the Targaryen Civil War, known as the Dance of the Dragons in 130 AC, Sir Balman Byrch, a knight of House Byrch, was a member of the Kingsguard, having been a captain throughout the reign of King Viserys I Targaryen. For most of the war, he was commander of the Old Gate. During the Mood of Madness and the riots of King's Landing, Sir Balon led his men against the rioters and managed to restore some order to the streets to the north and east of Rhaenys' Hill. After the death of Sir Luther Largent, the commander of the Goldcloaks, Balon was made the new commander of his valour and service during the riots. When King's Landing became too unsafe for Queen Rhaenyra to remain after the destruction of the Dragon Pit, he accompanied the guard that escorted her out of the city to try and find safe haven in the Crownlands. When the escort was attacked as they neared Duskendale by broken men, he was killed by an arrow. The other notable member of House Byrch is Sir Balman Byrch, who is a knight who appears in the main book series. He is the husband of Lady Falyse Stokeworth, who herself is heir to her mother's seat of Stokeworth. Balman is said to have a thick blonde moustache, his hair wavy blonde, which is slowly receding. For a knight, he is not considered very fit, with him having a noticeably large pot belly. He enjoys food and drink, including Hippocrates, with it all starting to take its toll on him. Only after her limited interaction with Balman during the events of A Feast for Crows, Cersei Lannister thinks that Balman is a fool and dim-witted. In his youth, Sir Balman was once a renowned tourney jouster, and at one point was considered one of the most handsome knights in the realm. He is known to have jousted at the tourney in Lannisport in 289 AC after the Greyjoy Rebellion, as well as the tourney at Duskendale in 294 AC. It is assumed he did not fare well in the lists, given we have no record of his performance. By the time of A Feast for Crows in the year 300 AC, Balman has been married to Falyse for 10 years, and they have no children. It is rumoured that Balman shuns his wife's bed, preferring that of maidens instead. Balman and his wife, Falyse Stokeworth, attended the funeral of Lord Tywin Lannister in King's Landing after he is killed by his son Tyrion during his escape from King's Landing after his trial for supposedly murdering King Joffrey. Queen Regent Cersei Lannister is offended when they inform her that Lady Tanda Stokeworth, mother of Falyse and the pregnant Lollys Stokeworth, would like to name Lollys' bastard child after Cersei's late father, if born a boy. When Lollys gives birth to her son, her husband, Sir Bronn of the Blackwater, names the child Tyrion instead. Cersei is offended that Bronn named the child after her despised younger brother, Tyrion Lannister. Falyse and Balman return to the capital from Castle Stokeworth, and during the journey they are turned away from Rosby and are disgusted by the sparrows they encounter, claiming she fears that Tyrion Lannister will have Bronn assassinate her son, King Tommen I Baratheon. Cersei manipulates Balman into a conspiracy to kill Bronn. Although Cersei expects that Bronn will suffer a mortal hunting mishap, the ever so chivalrous Balman instead challenges Bronn to a duel at Castle Stokeworth, believing the former sellsword, lack of experience on horse, will ensure his own victory. However, Bronn drives his lance through the chest of Balman's horse, causing the animal to fall and crush his legs. In return for Bronn's promise of mercy, Balman confesses Cersei's involvement in the plot to kill him. Balman cries out for help from Maester Frencken, but Bronn kills him with a knife to the eye. Falyse orders Bronn to be seized, but Bronn's supporters at Castle Stokeworth instead force Falyse herself to flee Stokeworth. A despondent Falyse begs Cersei in aid in recovering Stokeworth, but the Queen instead allows Maester Qyburn to experiment on the widow, preventing Falyse from telling tales of her involvement in the plot to kill Bronn. And unless we ever see the Winds of Winter, that is all we currently know of House Byrch.